Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we're going to be talking about internet speeds on the new Nintendo Switch console and what you can do to improve them. Now, why would you need to improve them? Well, in my testing yesterday, I only seem to be getting about 1 meg download from it, and yet coming into the house I've got a 70 meg package, and when I use my phone and my laptops, then I tend to get between 30 and 50 meg. So it seemed to be really poor, and I don't know whether it made a difference because it was docked or not. So in this video today we're going to do speed tests with it docked and undocked. We're going to do a comparison with my phone, and then we're going to do ways to improve it by using things like the USB to Ethernet adapter and also Powerline adapters to try and get the signal better to the Switch itself. Now, when you get the Switch, it only has a Wi-Fi connection. You can't use an Ethernet connection because there is no Ethernet port on it, but they do allow you to use a USB to Ethernet connection. So I got this one here for $6.99. I did try this one, which I've had for the past 10 years, but unfortunately this one doesn't work, and I didn't want to look too much into it because I've had it for, it must be at least 10 years I've had it, so obviously that's out of date now. So I've got myself this one here for £6.99 UK pounds, and we're going to see how it works. You don't have to get a special Nintendo one, and a USB to Ethernet adapter should work as long as it's modern enough. So my router or router, as you know in the States, is hidden under the stairs, and we're going to be using the 2.4 gigahertz band. Now, with the Switch and things like the new phones, you will be able to use 2.4 or 5 gigahertz if your router allows it. But with my router, I have to choose whether it's 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. It doesn't pump out both at the same time. So because I've got older equipment in my house, like old iPods and stuff, I have to use the 2.4 gigahertz one. So you may get a slightly better result if it was a 5 gigahertz one, but the comparison is still the same. We're still comparing the Nintendo Switch compared to my phone on the same 2.4 gigahertz network. So first of all, let's do the Nintendo Switch now that it's fully charged up, and we'll see what results we're getting today. So what you need to do is you need to go down to System Settings and press A, and then if you have a look on the left hand side you will see Internet, and then you've got the option to test the connection. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want the whole world to know my IP address, I'm just going to put it down just for a minute. So I'm going to start the test now, A, and now let's see if I can get it just so it says the download speed and upload speed. Takes a couple of minutes to run through. There we go. So as you can see, the download speed is only 1.4 meg. So it's slightly better than yesterday, but look at the upload speed, 30 kilobits. I mean, that's absolutely tiny. That's not even, that's like 0.03 off a meg. Now, my connection is a 70 meg down and a 5 meg upload. So that's a huge difference. I mean, those speeds are really poor considering the connection I do have in my house. So let's do a test on my phone, and let's see what my phone is getting. Now, it's not going to be a true comparison because on my phone I'm going to be using speed test, and obviously on the Nintendo Switch it's using its own internal speed test, but you still get the idea. So let's test my phone. There you go. So it's not great, but it's still a lot better. So we got that 28 meg down. And 5 meg up. So there you go, 28.11 meg down and 5.4 meg up, which is what I would expect. Often that can be like 30 or 40 depending on where you are. Obviously there might be more interference now, you know, the Nintendo Switch might be interfering with this and vice versa. This might be interfering with the Nintendo Switch. But you see how much better it is than using the Switch itself. So what I'm going to do is, let me take the Switch out, and I'm going to do another test now. I'm going to do another test Be careful I don't show my IP address again because I can't be bothered to blank it out. See if it's a lot better when it's undocked. No, look, 1.9 meg down. And a bit better up, but 2.3, so it's only 0.2 off a meg up. Because remember, they're kilobits, not megabits. So really, really poor speeds. Right, let's put that back. Okay, so how are we going to improve this? Now, I think first things first is let's try and do a wired connection. Now, let's try a wired connection by using one of these USB to Ethernet adapters. So this is U Green. I got this off Amazon. It was £6.99 UK pounds. So you're going to be looking at under $10. And let's plug this in to a spare USB port. Now, to make it nice and neat, they do allow you to open up the back, and I can plug the USB in there, and then you can close it up again, and it doesn't really take up much room, so it's still quite neat. Now what I'm going to do is, in my house I have got everything wired up for Ethernet, but basically, if you're wondering what an Ethernet is, all it is if you were to have a look at the back of your router or router, as you know it in the States, then you will see that you will have spare ports at the back. So all you need to do is get an Ethernet cable, which looks like one of these. That's an 8-pin connector. And you need to plug it into the back of your router, and then the other end you will plug in to the little USB to Ethernet LAN adapter, like so. Now at the moment this router here is just for testing. I haven't actually got this plugged in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in to my wall down here, and this is where I actually do have the internet coming from the router under the stairs. So if you have a look there now, you can see that the lights have lit up on that little LAN adapter. And what we have to do is we have to go and choose the wired connection on the software. So again, we go to System Settings and press A, and we're going to go to Internet, and we're going to go to Internet Settings. Now it's searching for networks at the moment. In fact, I can show this bit, it doesn't matter. Right, so these are the connections here. So at the moment, we're on a wired connection now. So you can see it's got a tick next to the wired connection. So it's automatically put you on to the wired connection. So let's do another speed test now. Right, I'm going to go down to Test Connection. I press A. There we go, look at that. 51.5 megabits and 4 megabits upload. So you can see the difference there is absolutely huge. So before it was whatever it was, under 2 megabits, 1 point something, and the upload wasn't even half a megabit, but now we have 51.5 megabits and 4 megabits upload. So you can see when it comes to multiplayer gaming, if you're playing against other people online, you can see that the wired connection is always going to be much better. Now, for example, it's okay here because I've already wired up my whole house for it, but in your house that might not be an option. So what can you do instead? So basically, by far the best way is going to be getting a long Ethernet cable like this and running it from the back of your router into the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, so that would be the best way, but I appreciate that it's going to be hard for a lot of people to run this cable because you might not want wires shown around the place. So is there any other options you can do? Well, there is. What you can do is you can get things called Powerline adapters. Now with these things, they plug in. These things have really come down in price now. I mean, this pack here was only about, I think it was about 22 or 23 pounds. And what they do is they plug into your electricity points. So pretend now that this is your electricity point. Now they should go onto wall sockets. Don't use strips like this because the connection won't be as good, because then you're relying on the cable in here. So you're supposed to plug them straight into the wall sockets. And if you're thinking that looks strange, that's because it is a UK type plug. Obviously in other parts of the world it's going to look different. So you just plug one end into there, and then you would plug the other end in next to your router, and then you would have an Ethernet cable going from here into the back of your router. Yeah, so that's plugged in there, and then you would, on the other end, you would have another Ethernet cable going from your electricity wall socket. So another Ethernet cable from the Powerline adapter that's plugged into your electrical socket, that then goes into your Nintendo Switch. So you get those ones there, or the problem with these is it's still relying purely on a wired connection. And the bad thing with the Nintendo Switch, and I hope they do fix this in one of their next updates, I mean, I don't know if they're aware of it, but is basically when I unplug this now from here, let's just do back, it will now say internet connection not connected. It's not like a laptop where when it loses the Ethernet connection, it will then kick back onto Wi-Fi. It doesn't do anything. I physically have to go to internet settings again, look for my network, searching for networks, look for my network, and go back onto it again. It doesn't do it automatically, and I can't find a way or any settings at the moment to do that. So I'm hoping that maybe in the future, maybe Nintendo hasn't realized this, or I'm hoping that they'll do some kind of update that then will allow you to do it, because otherwise it's going to be a pain. You want a good connection when it's in the dock, but then when you unplug it, you've got to keep connecting to the internet. So it's by no way ideal. It should do it automatically. So let's try it now with the Powerline adapters. So basically with these Powerline adapters, the problem with these are you're still relying on, like I said, on the wired connection. So when you plug the switch out of the dock, you're going to lose the connection, and you're going to have to reconnect like I'm doing now, and it seems to be taking a really long amount of time. So these ones would be a better bet. Now this is TP-Link. Again, these are more expensive. I got these quite a few months ago now, probably about a year or half a year ago, and these were about £45, so the price has probably come down a bit. And what these do is they do a wired connection, but they also allow you to do a Wi-Fi connection. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to plug this one in by my router, and then I'm going to plug this one in right by the switch, and then the internet, the Wi-Fi signal's only got to go from this adapter to the switch, which is going to only be a couple of feet away. So that's going to hopefully give me a good signal, and yet when I take it out of the dock, it's still going to be connected to the Wi-Fi signal. So it looks like this is probably going to be the best option, but let's give it a go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fast forward the setup. So this is the one that's going to go under the stairs by my router, and I'm going to have an Ethernet cable going from here into the back of the router, and this one is going to be by my switch down here. And again, you can have a wired connection if you want, but I'm just going to use the Wi-Fi side of it, and this is going to be the same as having my router right next to the Nintendo Switch. So let's set that up. Right, so just to show you, I've got it just plugged in here. Again, it shouldn't be in one of these strips. That's going to lead to a poor connection. It should be in an actual wall socket itself, but it's just for the test, just to see how it goes. It saves me having to unplug everything. So right now, I'm going to be using the Wi-Fi from here. So this is using the electricity cables for a wired connection. So rather than having to run an Ethernet cable, you know, one of these long cables from your router, you're using the wires that already exist in your wall for your electricity supply, and then it's going to come up to this point here, and this is going to recreate the Wi-Fi signal using the same SSID and password, and then I can connect to here, and then it's going to be a lot nearer because it's only got to go from here to here. And then when I take the switch out of here, then it doesn't matter where I go in the house, it's either going to use the internet connection from here, or seamlessly it's going to use the one under the stairs, so whatever you're nearest to. So this is probably going to be the best bet. Now with these Powerline, you can also connect an Ethernet cable into the bottom of them. So first of all, I'm just going to do a test with the Ethernet cable plugged into the bottom, straight into the LAN connector, just to see what kind of speeds we're getting now. And I will say the wiring in my house is really old. This house was built in the 1970s and it's still got the original wiring. So I'm just going to go to the wired connection, press A, and I'm going to do connect to the internet via wire connection, and press A. Right, so it's successfully connected. So right now I'm using the electricity wires in my house to push the Ethernet signal to. So let's do a test on that, and then we will then do the wireless connection afterwards from the Powerline adapter. So I'm just going to move this down again. Go to test connection, press A. Now these results will vary depending on the wiring you have in your house. Now remember, I'm using this old wiring in the house, and then also I'm using a rubbish extension lead which is off another extension lead. So I've only got the one power outlet behind this TV, so that's going to a 10 gang, and then from the 10 gang I've just run another little 4 gang out of that just to give me access to plug in things that I want to plug without having to pull the TV out. But still, even with that, you can still see there that the connection speed is 9.6 meg download and 3.7 meg upload, so it's still a lot better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unplug this and I'm going to try it on the Wi-Fi connection. So take off the back, I'm going to get rid of this USB adapter completely, get rid of the Ethernet lead, and now we're purely using the electricity wires with that little TP-Link adapter. Everything's wireless now, so there's nothing plugged into this at all. Yeah, you see there. Right, again, so when I've unplugged it now, it's now saying not connected. So I'm going to have to go through the internet again and go to internet settings. So press A, and it's going to search for the networks again. So it's a real pain that it does this and it doesn't do it automatically. I really do hope that gets fixed. Right, I'm going to connect to this network. There we go, so we're connected. So let's do a speed test on this one now. So we're going to go down to test connection, press A, and let's see what download speed we're getting this time. There you go, 7.2 meg and 2.7 meg. So we've got 7.2 meg download and 2.7 meg upload. And remember, originally we only had 1 point something download and not even half a meg upload. So if you were to have your router located right next to your switch, then obviously all of this is irrelevant. Do the speed test to begin with and see what you're getting. And if you notice that it's a lot less than other devices in the house, then look into other options. So now that I've got the Wi-Fi connection from there to there, the good thing about this now is that all I've got to do is unplug this. Let me just do back, right, and now it's still connected to the internet. So if I was to go to system settings and go to internet, it will say now connected via Wi-Fi. Yeah, so I'm still connected to the internet now. And if I was to do test connection again, so this is the one good thing about using this setup. You haven't got to keep on reconnecting every time you take it out the dock. The bad point is you're going to have poorer speed. So if you're going to be having a big gaming session and you know it's going to be in the dock for a long time, then by all means go for the wired connection. But if you have a look there, I've got 10.4 meg download and 2.7 meg upload. And it doesn't matter then if I plug it back in or take it out, it's always going to be connected to the Wi-Fi. So I hope you found this video useful. There's probably other people here in the future that's also going to be struggling with getting the good speeds on a Nintendo Switch. So by doing these few things in the video, you will see that you can improve your connection a lot. Hope you found the video useful. Please give it a thumbs up if this helped you out. Take care. Bye now.